Hey, good morning, and welcome back to the podcast, the Evil Dungeon Master AD&D Universe Podcast. Hey, I said it right today. Evil Dungeon Master's AD&D Universe Podcast. I'm your host, Evil Dungeon Master Vince. Today is another day. It's another week, and we go further into July, and it's less than a month, less than a couple weeks, 2 weeks until Gen Con. If you're going to Gen Con, let me know in the comments. Let me know. Ask the DM at theevildm.com is my email address. And let me know if you're going to Gen Con, because I am going to Gen Con, and it'd be nice to meet up with people who listen or provide feedback or anything to this podcast, because, it's all about you. So with that out of the way, let's go into everything else. TheEvilDM.com is my website. Patreon.com/TheEvilDM is my support site. As I announced the other day, I started getting back into writing by hand inside my journal. I haven't done this in quite some time because, I don't know, I just don't like to write that often. But in the last week or so, I've been kind of jotting down things inside of a GM journal or DM journal. I'm not sure what I want to call it these days. And it's been a lot of fun. I've just been jotting down ideas like I did back in the day when I was, going places and had a little notebook in my back pocket. And I'm thinking about maybe sharing the pages of chaos and stupidity, in my case, in my Patreon. So those that are my Patreon can get a sneak peek at the journal. I don't know if it's going to be, anything worthwhile to people, but I heard some people wanted to see things like that and procedures and whatever else. So if you're a Patreon member and you're listening to this, I appreciate every one of you. And those that are members, please look forward to that in the next week or so. Today's topic. Let's get into that. Turning to page 69, dude. In the Unearthed Arcana, whatever you want to call it, we have Wraithform. Yes, Wraithform, a third level illusionist spell that you gain upon 5th level. So, this may look like a dull or boring spell, but it actually is very valuable when you think about it. And it only applies to the Illusionist. Its range is 0 and it's 2 rounds per level. So that's at least 2 minutes per level. The components are semantic and material. Casting time is 1 segment, no saving throw, because the area of effect is just the Illusionist. When this spell is cast, the Illusionist and all of his or her gear become insubstantial. The caster can now only be hit by magical weapons of +1 or better, or by creatures otherwise able to affect those struck only by magic weapons. Undead of most sorts will ignore an individual in wraith form, believing him or her to be a wraith or a specter. Though a lich or a special, quote-unquote, undead may save versus spell at 4 to recognize the spell being passed. The illusionist, while in this form, will be able to pass through small holes, narrow openings, and even mere cracks, with all he or she wears or holds in his or her hands, as long as the spell is persistent. No form of attack is possible when wraith form except against creatures which exist on the ethereal plane, where all attacks both ways are normal. Dispel illusion and dispel magic are the only ways to force an illusionist in wraith form back to normal form. The spellcaster can return to normal form at will, but this ends the spell effect. The material component for this spell is a bit of gauze and a wisp of smoke, which are not that uncommon materials to have inside of a gaming world. A wisp of smoke can be brought from anywhere, from campfires to someone smoking a pipe. So your character could be a pipe smoking illusionist and just puff puff, a little bit of gauze, boom, he's in his wraith form. Now, it doesn't say if you can talk or not, so that's something to think about and consider when you are the dungeon master of your game. Will you allow your wraith illusionist to speak? And I don't see why not, because spirits and wraiths all can speak, but I would probably rule it as you would have this wispy, echoey, growling type voice from a wraith, because that's how a wraith sounds, in my opinion, when I think about it. I don't know. What would you do out there in the comments? Just let me know. I'm interested to hear how you would definitely handle it in your campaign. Now, I had a player that once was an illusionist, and he got up in further levels so that he could use this spell in a different way. And he did a lot of research, and I allowed him to do the research because he was very inventive. He actually went and made an advanced form of this because he thought it'd be awesome so that it could affect other people other than himself. So he did, he renamed it Wraithform Advanced, or I think it was Wraithform Additional. I might remember what he called it, but the spell became more of a 6th level spell, and he did it so that he can actually do it, transfer it to another person. So what he could do is he could slap this on, say, the fighter, and the fighter could go and run around and be a wraith. The only problem with the spell that he didn't like, and I argued with him that it would only be the illusionist that can do this, is the illusionist can drop the spell, because it says only the illusionist can drop the spell, because it's part of the magical spell itself. Now, what I said to him was that the person that you affected by this spell is fine. They will be affected by the spell once you touch them. There's no saving throw unless you're doing it against their will. And if they want to come out of that wraith form, they have to either A, wait for the time to run out, or B, you have to touch them again to relinquish the spell from them. Otherwise, the spell would have to be a lot higher, I thought, in my opinion. But this is how I ruled it, and everybody was fair about that. I thought it was fair. I went around the group and I asked their opinions. I mean, Dungeon Masters don't have to do that at all. But I like to see what my group has to say about the whole situation. And I said, what do you guys think? I said, is it fair that this spell is for illusions just to touch another person and then have to touch them again to get the spell dispelled, or run out of time? And everybody in the group said that was fair. So we went with that going forward. Now, this spell is pretty basic in itself, and the only thing you really need, obviously, is a gauze and a wisp of smoke. And we all agreed that most people in campaigns, or in the D&D world, so to speak, so wisp of smoke is pretty common when it comes to adventuring. People smoke pipes. There's fires. Blah, 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 blah. And gauze is pretty much anything that you can easily make or get. So there's a couple ways I was thinking how an illusionist could use this in other ways, and I've seen sneaking into a noble's estate using wraith form, scaring the guards away by drifting through the walls and the cracks, making them think they're dealing with a restless spirit, make candles flicker by going by them, doors creak, secret papers vanish. It's not a ghost, it's just a very smug 3rd level spell. Why not, right? This can also be used in a pinch inside of a dungeon. Party hits a dead end. There is no key. There's no secret door. The illusionist slips into wraith form and drifts through the cracks in the walls and guides around through the dungeon and tries to find places that they've never been. It feels like a video game kind of thing when you're cheating and doing God mode and going through walls. It's not, because it's just smart magic, but it does feel like that whole sensation of when you were playing those older games on the PC and you put into God mode, you just walk right through the walls and get right to where you want to go, grab the treasure, and leave, right? No, doesn't work that way. You could use it to bypass a dangerous trap area. There's pressure plates, poison darts, blade walls. The illusionist can just become a wraith and guide right through it, go to the other side, find a way to disable the traps, wait it out, or dispel it, and then just disable the traps. Or get the item that he wants over there, and then throw it back or something, because he can't. Well, unless you have more than one spell, you could redo it again. But another way you could use it in wraith form is be a scout. You can't attack, but you can peek through walls, pass over chasms, excuse me, chasms, wow. Chasms, return with the perfect intel for your characters. Players who love stealth and recon and things like that will love just doing that. by scouting ahead and just listening to what people have to say without them really noticing. Because you don't really make sounds either in a wraith form. You're just kind of quiet. You could make sounds, and I've ruled that you can make a bit of sounds, as we spoke about earlier. So there was one session I remember. Again, our party's thief got caught, was tossed into a jail cell with some solid bars, and there was kind of no way out of the situation, and there was a guard guarding him. So the illusionist cast Wraithform and phased through the walls and scared the living poop out of the guard, and then and then after the guard ran away, we were able to break out the thief because the guard thought the dungeon was cursed, and he ran away because he was just a guard. I mean, if it's just a simple guard, he's standing there and he sees this thing come through the wall that's like incorporeal and going, "Whoa," he's gonna be like, "Yeah, I'm out. I'm not paid enough for this shit," and he's just gonna run. Yeah, a low level guard. I'm not even gonna. Common sense to me is this guy's not getting paid a lot. He sees this weird thing come through the wall. He's gonna be like, "Yeah, fear roll, peace out. I'm done. Not even a roll needed." Common sense is he's going to run away. Tell me what you think about this spell in the comments. You have anybody use it in your campaign? Again, I've had it, and it's a pretty interesting spell. I like to hear how you adjudicated it in your games. If anything weird came up or interesting came up, I want to hear it. Throw it in the comments, either on Spotify or YouTube when this is dropped. I think that's the only places you can do that. Don't forget to rate the podcast on Apple Podcasts, wherever you see this podcast. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channels, follow the channels, whatever it is. There will be no podcast Wednesday as I'm heading into the office pretty much all week, except for Friday, to do something with some clients. So I'm not going to be able to do a podcast early in the mornings like I do on Monday, Wednesday, Fridays. With that said, I'm going to head out. I want you to have a wonderful day. Keep it original, keep it old school. Good night. God bless everybody.
With a cackle and a wicked grin.